You may wonder what the cause of your motorcycle's problem is and how to solve it. You are not alone. In this video, you'll learn how to troubleshoot the most common motorcycle problems. There are also tips for maintaining your motorcycle too. Just follow these steps to keep your bike running smoothly. Troubleshooting a motorcycle. When your motorcycle won't start, you may want to troubleshoot the problem yourself to prevent costly repairs. A quick check of the battery's voltage can help you determine the problem. If the voltage is too low, your bike's battery is not getting enough charge to start. Replace the battery or charge it fully. Then use a voltmeter to test the electrical output. Make sure to read the manual thoroughly before trying any repairs. Some common problems can be caused by the fuel injectors. Fuel solidifies after the engine is idle, which can cause problems starting and overall performance. Cleaning the injector as directed by the manufacturer can solve this issue. If the problem persists, contact a mechanic for a more thorough inspection. Make sure to note any warning signs and keep track of any symptoms. The motorcycle's fuel system is another common source of problems, so make sure it's properly maintained. Faulty ignition system. If you experience low acceleration, it could be a problem with the ignition system. Check these components closely and replace them if necessary. You should always check the wiring for faults and the earth connection before changing it. Make sure all candles produce good sparks, and if they are weak or broken, replace them with new ones. After a thorough inspection, you can proceed to test the other electrical components of the motorcycle. 2. Checking for rust. There are a number of ways to check for rust on your motorcycle. It is essential to check the chain if it has rusted, because this can cause serious problems down the road. Fortunately, it is fairly easy to repair small patches of rust. Large patches, however, are much more complicated to fix, and you may have to replace the entire gas tank or frame. The first step in removing rust is to check the bike for moisture. The rusting process begins when metals are exposed to oxygen and moisture. It is not a natural process. Metals do not naturally rust. They need moisture added to them to begin oxidation. Consequently, motorcycles and chains are particularly susceptible to rust. Fortunately, you can prevent rust from forming in the first place. Rust can occur in exhaust pipes as well. If this happens, you can scrub the rust away with a sandpaper. You may want to apply a layer of chrome polish spray to the exhaust pipe to prevent further rusting. This way, the exhaust pipe will look almost new and be much more secure than it was before. You can also use wax paste on the exhaust pipe to prevent it from rusting. Another area to check for rust is the fuel tank. Make sure the tank is not overfilled and does not have too much sediment. This can cause fuel leaks and prevent it from performing properly. Similarly, you can inspect for nicks on the tubes. If you see any, these are signs that your motorcycle has rusted parts and will require repair. Luckily, there are solutions for all of these problems. 3. Checking for clogged fuel injectors. There are 2 ways to test for clogged fuel injectors on a motorcycle. Injection systems, also known as TB systems, disperse fuel throughout the engine. A dirty nozzle can significantly affect engine performance, and the amount of injectors in a motorcycle's engine multiplies this risk. Early symptoms of clogged fuel injectors can be hard to notice, since modern engines use internal sensors and computers to properly mix fuel. A simple test to determine if fuel injectors are clogged involves connecting a test light clipped to a bare metal bracket or bolt on the motorcycle's engine. Connect the test light clip to the electrical connector to the fuel injector. Now, connect a test light to the 2 terminals on the wiring harness. If the test light comes on, then the injector receives the pulse signal from the computer. If not, then the injector is clogged and needs to be replaced. If your motorcycle's fuel injectors are clogged, you need to take your bike in for service. If your motorcycle has a dead engine, it's probably a clogged fuel injector. Checking for a dead engine can lead to a variety of problems, including sputtering, hiccuping, and stalling. 4. Checking for seized piston. If you've ever ridden a motorcycle with a seized piston, you know how bad they can be. These seized pistons can cause your engine to stop functioning, your bearings to go bad, and even endo. To solve this problem, you should lubricate the pistons. You can do this by disengaging the spark plugs and pouring lubricant down the holes that lead directly to the top of each piston. This will give you a clear idea of which cylinder has a problem. There are several types of lubricants available for this purpose, and some are penetrating. Seized pistons usually start with a lack of power. Sometimes, other parts are to blame. If your motorcycle has a roller crank, you may notice a bad knock. In addition, if you load it too hard before the coolant temperature stabilizes, the piston might start to expand. In such a case, you'll be able to hear a crack or two, which may mean that it's time to replace the piston. If you notice a seized piston, you should immediately stop riding the motorcycle and take it to a mechanic. If you can't find any visible damage, the seized piston is a sign of a more serious problem. The bike might be causing excessive heat. Aside from the obvious signs, other signs include rust and grime on engine components. Dirty oil will accelerate rust formation. 5. Checking for drained battery. A drained battery on a motorcycle can have many symptoms. You might hear a clicking noise when starting the bike. This is an indication that the battery is drained. If you experience the same noise, you may need to charge the battery. Check the battery voltage with a volt-ohm meter. If it reads less than 20 volts per cell, it is likely to be a leak circuit. The voltage of a motorcycle battery should be about 12.5 volts at all times. It should rise between 13.8 and 14.5 volts when the motorcycle is started. If the voltage is above this range, the charging system of the motorcycle is likely to be malfunctioning. If your motorcycle has a battery warning light, consult the owner's manual or consult a mechanic. If your motorcycle's battery light does not come on, it's likely that the battery is damaged. If the battery is constantly draining, the problem could be caused by a faulty battery. A faulty battery will pass the battery test, but still fail to keep a full charge. It may be that other components of the bike are stealing the battery's power, such as alarms or immobilizers. If you see one of these components, consider replacing it. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for the bike to charge to find the culprit. 6. Checking for misaligned tire. If you're wondering if your motorcycle's tires are misaligned, there are many simple ways to check. Whether you're driving a motorcycle on a dirt road or a highway, your misaligned tires could be causing your bike to drift or cause it to stop turning properly. You should visit a motorcycle repair shop to have your tires checked for alignment. Cupped tires are noisy, especially on highways. If you've noticed any of these symptoms, you should have your motorcycle's tires checked immediately. A simple way to check the alignment of your motorcycle's front forks is to look for a straight edge. You can purchase a straight edge at a hardware store or on Amazon. You can also use 2 straight edges to eyeball the difference. Make sure that the edges are long enough to reach the wheel's center line, preferably at least 60 inches apart. A 72-inch straight edge is a good bet if you're unsure. A misaligned rear wheel can cause uneven tire wear. This is because the wheels are not aligned properly, putting more pressure on the tire and resulting in faster wear and tear. If your rear wheel is misaligned, it can cause your bike to steer hard and cause a severe loss of grip. You can also use a straight edge as a guide, such as a fluorescent tube 8 feet tall.